Hey ho, it's Marco Cattaneo again on behalf of Charles Sturt University. The subject coordinator for ITI 597 and the topic that covers like IT service management according to ITIL version 3. And this time we're going to have a detailed look, you and I together, at IT governance, a very hot topic, IT governance. So, okie dokie dokie. Governance, according to dictionary.com. It says government, the exercise of authority, control. It's a method or system of government or management. So just picking up highlighting some keywords here. It's about exercising authority. It's about exercising control. It's about applying methods or systems that allow you to manage your environment. Governance. So many frameworks and so many standards. So what does Control Objectives for Information and Related Technology, COBIT, say about governance? Well, COBIT says the core of IT governance consists of value, risk and control. We want to maximize value that comes from IT. We want to minimize negative risk and we want to control our processes, procedures and activities. In other words, we need a big brother. We need a big brother that is watching us. We want to make sure that people are doing the right things and doing things right. Because if we go off track, we may lose our entire business. We want to make sure we keep on track. So we've looked at like governance according to dictionary.com, and we've looked at governance according to COBIT. So what does ITIL has to say about governance? Well, ITIL says governance ensures that policies and strategy, so it's all about direction, are actually implemented. And required processes are correctly followed. So it's being in control of your processes and activities. Furthermore, it includes defining roles and responsibilities. So it means who is doing what, who is performing what type of activities. Also, it includes measuring and reporting. We need to understand, we need to be able to process the data and information that comes out of the organization so we can actually make proper decisions. Again, if we're not on track, we want to make sure we're able to take actions to resolve any issues. We need to, for example, we need to be able to deal with complaints. We need to be able to deal with like process deviations. That is what governance is all about. Okay, so say as an organization and you've planned to move from A to B. And typically you want to move from A to B in a straight line. Now, if you don't have governance in place, you may be like going off track. You may be deviating from your initial plans and you may not even notice it. And that means by the time you arrive somewhere, which isn't like your original destination, you may be out of business. And governance is all about understanding where am I going off track? Hey, right now something is going wrong. Hey, we're not performing the right activities. So stop, let's take some actions so we actually end up in B. So this is what governance is. It's really about controlling the environment. It's about controlling your actions as an organization. There's a bit more to governance. It says here enterprise governance describes both corporate governance and business governance. Corporate governance, we need to conform to laws and legislation. And business governance, we want to make sure internally we perform properly. IT governance is part of, well, both of them, and consists of the leadership, people being properly accountable and held accountable, organizational structures, like the functions and processes, they need to support what we are trying to achieve, so that IT sustains and extends the organization's direction. So that is really what IT governance in a nutshell is all about. So here's the story like more in a visual format. So we've got enterprise governance and corporate governance and business governance being part of that. Now, corporate governance and business governance will apply to like the finance area, the manufacturing area, the human resources area, the procurement area, that they all have like laws and legislation and business rules that apply to them. But hey, you also have like IT, and they also have a whole bunch of rules that apply to them. So now we talk about like IT governance. And that's where you need to like look at the value, you need to look at the risk, you want to control IT, you want to make sure you've got the proper processes in place and people follow those processes. You want to make sure you've got the proper structure in place, like the proper functions in place. You want to make sure that people are held accountable and they understand their roles and responsibilities. So in the end, you can actually exercise proper authority and you can make the right decisions. So again, this is like more a visual picture of like how IT governance works in an organization. Another practice what you preach exercise. It's all about understanding governance, of course. Say you're going to run a marathon, and for each meter you run, you somehow get off course by only 1 centimeter. And a marathon, of course, is like something like 42 kilometers. So by what distance would you miss the finish line without having some like mechanism in place to put you back on course? And of course that mechanism is governance. Yeah, it's time for a sample question. Hey, which one of the following statements is incorrect? Answer A. Business governance is a subset of enterprise governance. Answer B. Governance covers control, value and risk. Answer C. Governance excludes roles and accountability. Answer D. Corporate governance includes federal, state and local legislation you must adhere to. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about the answer and then we'll move on. Okay, the correct answer is answer C. Governance excludes roles and accountability? Of course not. Governance is all about assigning roles, responsibilities and authority. So what's the next topic? Hey, in the next topic we're going to talk about the business case. Okay, your tool to sell your ideas to the business. Hey, until then, live long and prosper and remember, I'll be back.